Welcome to the Navigating Dental Insurance Podcast, where we don't take from insurance companies. Here are your hosts, Mr. Jordon Comstock and Mr. Ben Tuine. This podcast is sponsored by BoomCloud Dental Membership Software, www.boomcloudapps.com, and Veritas Dental Resources, www.veritasdentalresources.com. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to another episode of the Navigating Dental Insurance Podcast. Welcome, folks. Welcome. My name is Ben Tuine. Today, I'm one of your co-hosts. I got my trusted colleague here, Jordon Comstock. What's up, Jordan?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm excellent, man. I am doing...
Look at that beard. That's a big beard, man.
Love it. You know, somebody called me Moses yesterday. I'm like, not wide enough. Not wide enough for Moses credentials just yet. But, you know,
if you stay quarantined long enough, you'll become real white. So
I'm looking forward to it. But I am gonna shave it, and my criteria is once the church is open, then I'll shave. You know, I'll go back to modern day business look and business attire. But for now,
dude, I think you should keep it. You should keep it.
Okay.
Looks good. Looks good. Grow your hair out long too, man.
The hair kind of annoys me. I haven't cut my hair simply because my barbershop is closed, and so I can't.
Really? I just went like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, good for you. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, they were open still, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they never shut down, but ours did, and I'll be back in the next couple of weeks, but we'll see.
Nice, dude.
Well, we have our trusted guest that's listening to us right now. Let's do a little bit of an introduction. I think Jayme Amos is one of those guys that doesn't need an introduction because a lot of people know him, and he's reluctantly decided to join us on our Peanuts podcast. You know, our podcast is like peanuts compared to what he does and his name and his expertise. You know, he's the CEO of Ideal Practices and specializes in so many different areas of dentistry, one of which is startups. We've had a lot of our clients that have created startups and have received coaching through Jayme and his team. And I will tell you that there is probably some secret sauce in what he does, because we're hearing that even right now in times of a pandemic or a perceived slowdown where there's a lot of fear. If you know Jayme and those that are working with them, it seems like they're booming. Jayme, welcome to the program today.
It is awesome to be here with you guys. Thank you. Like, just even the fun and the energy, the vibes between you both. Like, I just gotta say, I feel like, man, I'm fine. Like, maybe I'm gonna make it someday to like be in with the cool kids club. Like, I can't even grow a beard like that, let alone like, this is awesome. So
I can't either, man. I wish I could grow a beard like you, Ben. My twin brother has a beard, but I don't know. Yours looks way cooler.
Yeah, I just got to say, like, everybody knows BoomCloud. Everybody loves what you guys do. It's really cool to be here with you guys and share some ideas. And my desire today, like my number one goal of everything today, is just to serve associate dentists. Like, that's who we speak to. That's who we like to support and help and guide for startups. And a startup's not right for everybody, obviously, but for the associate dentists who are desiring practice ownership, apparently 84% of associate dentists, as of our most recent studies, 84% desire to become practice owners. So for those in that group who might be listening now, like, I hope that today is inspiring for you. And I hope for the three of us that we are able to pop some good ideas and share some really good stuff that people can start using even today. So there you go. Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Yeah, dude.
Hey, so yeah, great to have you.
Jayme, tell us your background a little bit. What got you started? I don't know enough about you. This is like an introduction call for me too. So what got you started helping practices with startups? Were you in dentistry before, or were you in just like business management before? Tell us some history there.
Yeah, so my first business, I came right out of undergrad. I have a degree in international business, and I was super fortunate, studied overseas and studied in the States, at Latin America and Europe, exposed to some really interesting things.
You're everywhere.
And right out of undergrad, I was like, listen, like, I've been to the Mercedes boardrooms. I've been to Goldman Sachs and Credit Suisse and Lufthansa. Like, what? Like, I'm this 20-some-year-old kid, and I had these amazing experiences. And I got back to the States, and I was like, you know what I'm going to do with all this vast experience? I'm going to start a business. Like a little tiny company that I took out my credit card and I started this business. I just took out 10 or 15 grand with me and my cousin. We started this recruiting company. It had nothing to do with dentistry. And I got to tell you, it was so much harder than I thought it was going to be. It was brutal, frankly. So my cousin and I had this like really cool success story, kind of young, dumb, lucky, and worked our tails off. We grew to over $1 million. This is in the first year, $1 million in the first year back 15 or so years ago. So that was a lot, back then. Now there's $1 million startups. A lot of our startup dentist clients all over the country, they're $1 million startups in their first year. But 15 years ago, man, $1 million in your first year was, anyway, that was great. And it was interesting. Around the 1 year mark, we're touring real estate. We had to expand. We had to grow. We had to get another building to grow into. So my cousin and I were touring the real estate, and I haven't told this story in a while. Excuse me.
You're good.
I got a phone call at the end of the real estate tour, and it was my mom. And I looked at the phone and I thought, oh, there's my mom. And what does any 20-some-year-old do when they get a call from their mom? Like, I looked at it and I was like, voicemail. So I put her voicemail.
Yeah.
Then she called right back. And so I picked it up. I said, hey, Mom, what's up? And she said, Jayme, there's been an accident. Your brother, Michael, and his fiancee, Trish, it doesn't look good. You should get to the hospital right away. So I did. My cousin drove as fast as he could. We got to the hospital. I actually found out that day that my brother and his fiancee were killed by a drunk driver that night.
Oh, man.
I mean, just like, talk about from high to low, right?
Yeah.
So again, it's been a little while since I told this story, but I think through that, I took some time off. I moved back home with my parents, had a lot of time to rethink. I ended up selling my business a few months after that. I think through all that, I was looking at what my brother was doing. He was literally serving at a church, helping teenagers with his fiance, and they were quite literally pulling out of, they're turning left out of the parking lot when they were broadsided.
Holy smokes.
And while it's sad and it's horrible, and I mean, it still feels fresh to me, even all these years later, even amidst all that, I think it's a beautiful picture of doing what you were called to do and doing what matters, even until the last minute. So for me, I looked at what I was doing, and proud of being respected in the industry and respected in small business circles for being a young, fast success story. Like, I had the money, I had this pride, I was being interviewed by a bunch of people, admired by a bunch of people. But at the same time, I realized, I've got none of what my brother had. I kind of have none of the fulfillment or the purpose in what I do. So I made a deal with myself right then. In my old bedroom at my parents' house, I told myself, whatever I do next, it'll be something. And whatever it is, I am committing to making sure that it matters. So over the next couple months and years, I ended up starting to work with startups, and I made a commitment to myself then. So that's all we do now. That's kind of the seeds of Ideal Practices, our consulting company for startups. Those are the seeds of how the company started. But the reason I tell you that story is because, for me, the most rewarding and fulfilling part of this is that when you do what matters and you do something with a bigger purpose involved, every day becomes better, even bigger than the business. So what we do is, every time we open a startup dental practice in the States, we simultaneously fund 10 startup businesses in third world countries. We take some of the money for our dental startup consulting package that we work with our clients with, and we allocate that money to small business nonprofit loans in third world countries. So people who have no access to traditional loans, people who might, I've seen this in action, literally live in a tin shack, dirt road village. They get access to a little bit of money to start a business, and it changes their life, and it allows them to influence other people, and it allows them to hire other people who need jobs, and it allows them to change an entire community from a startup. And that's why I love startups. That's why I love working with dentists. That's why I love this, because we go from idea to impact. We go from idea to success to purpose. which is way different from just opening a dental practice, which is the traditional, unfortunate, sad method for many. They just open a dental practice and then they struggle. What I believe is that if we go from practice to profit to purpose, this 3-tiered approach, I believe things are way, way better on a personal and community level. So I didn't mean to talk so long, but there's a story you probably didn't expect to get. So
you're the guest on the show. We want you to talk. No, that
was a
It was
powerful
awesome.
story. That was amazing. And I'm sorry about your brother and his fiance. And I can personally tell how that's definitely shaped your life. And this is my first time talking to you, but I've known of you for a number of years and have followed a lot of the work that you've been doing. But when you look at a person's why and you look at their drive, and it makes so much sense. It makes taking tragedy and turning it into something positive and doing so much good. And it sounds like you and I are the two island boys that are on this podcast. You're in Puerto Rico right now, and I'm from American Samoa, and I totally get what you're saying about funding small businesses in countries and areas where innovative people and individuals that have the talent, but they just don't have the resources to get started. So a lot of those people, unfortunately, never get to shine. They never get to see their potential, And I like to use looking at the word potential as a dirty word with people, but that's the reality, is that a lot of this untapped potential just goes to so much waste. And I think in dentistry, you've done a lot of that too, in terms of the model that you've created. And I think today, if it's okay with Jordon, for us to sort of focus on that model that you've created. It sounds like in our pre-show talk that the people that you're working with right now during this time of pandemic, it's almost business as usual, if not better. Can you speak to sort of what you're seeing out there in terms of practices? This is May 7th. Some doctors will listen to this later in May and June. What are you seeing today that's working in dentistry to kind of get that spark going and ignited for dental practices?
Yeah, so you're right. First of all, you said a couple key words that kind of resonated with me were business as usual, and even better than, you said even better than before, even better than the norm, something like that. Even better is the premise. So you said business as usual and even better. Both of those phrases are really powerful. I would say, I would put a little asterisk next to those and say, and different, right? Like the strategies required to thrive right now, literally in the middle of this crisis that we're all in together, the strategies right now, they can be business as usual. They can be even better, but the asterisk of and different needs to be in there because things have changed. and that's just the nature of humankind. Like things change.
Yeah.
And the future will be different. So what do we do with that? Well, I guess I can give you some examples. As I'm thinking through what to share that would be really helpful, I can think of essentially like 3 easy topics we could talk through. One would be practices that are thriving now, even in the middle of the pandemic. 2 would be maybe some resources that would help serve doctors who are exploring this startup journey. And maybe 3 is some examples of systems and processes that have worked. So we can cover those 3 topics if that's helpful.
Yeah.
Just last night, I was talking to Dr. David. I'll leave his last name nameless, but he's in Colorado. Actually, you know what? I don't have to leave him nameless. He's totally fine with it. Most of our clients are not fine with it. And it looks like my screen just went black. Did I miss a video
no.
for somebody? I don't know if that matters. Okay.
Ben, I think Ben.
That's fine.
But you're good. You're good.
Sorry,
Yeah.
So for anybody who's listening in audio form, if you watch the video, you'll see the screen go black.
Yeah.
So Dr. David Cisneros is his last name. The reason I know he's okay with his last name being shared, most of our clients are not, because we're highly selective with where they go. We're incredibly disciplined with the demographics research, with the strategies for real estate location, for all those little elements that make each practice successful. But David is one of those guys who's chill and cool and calm and kind of doesn't care because he sees working what's supposed to work. And here's what I mean. His grand opening was last week.
Oh.
Like, yeah.
Oh my God.
Last week. Like, yeah. So if you're watching this at some point in the future, just know all of dentistry right now is scared stiff. Half of the country is not open.
Yep.
And so David in Colorado opened his doors last week. Okay, this is even worse than it sounds though, because David 2 days before his grand opening, he calls our team. Now, with our process, we build up the startup MBA, so they have a real business and hiring and marketing. Everything's been built for months and months.
So cool. Yeah.
So for David, he calls my team 2 days before his grand opening and says, problem. What's up, David? I was just fired from my associateship job.
Oh.
Okay, so David's now fired. And mind you, Alyssa, his wife, is pregnant with their second child due in July. So in like 3 months. So David's got no job. He's got a cold scratch frickin' startup in the middle of a pandemic, and he's due with the second child in 60 days? Rightfully so. Even cool, calm, collected David is pretty stressed. So his grand opening day comes. His first full day is a $4,100 production day, which, my friends, that is higher than the national average for a mature, established practice. And Dr. David knocked that out of the park on his very first day, first full day with a cold scratch startup practice last week. So I interviewed him last
pandemic.
night. In a pandemic. I interviewed him last night. I said, hey, I just wanted to get the play-by-play. How are things going? How are things rocking? And he was slammed. It was like 4 or 5 o'clock his time in Colorado. It was late where I was. And we're on this video call, and he's like looking over his shoulder, getting dinged about patients. His team is like talking to him. He's like, guys, I'm on an interview video. Hang on, I'll be there in a minute. Like in the middle of a pandemic. So why is that? What I can tell you, maybe like myself, going back to my days as starting a business, I was just like stupid enough to just like dive in. And I thought the old myth of learning by trial and error was cool. Back then I was like, hey, learn by trial and error. Like, I'll earn my stripes. Give them my battle scars. David was smart enough to know, like, wait a minute, I don't need to struggle through it. I could tap into the knowledge of what works. And if anybody wants to see in the video, happy to share it if it's resourceful for anybody later on. The whole thing is recorded. I'll just record it last night. I'll upload it for people. He's very raw, and he says, I was pretty scared literally until my opening day, but I know I made a choice and I was going to follow the plan. He's like, his exact words. So I followed the plan. I didn't even know if it was going to work out. I followed the plan, and it worked. And we see that happening all over the country for the doctors who are willing to follow the right plan to get there. It works. And it's not because like my team of consultants around the country and I are smarter than other people. That's not why. It's because, well, the president of Ideal Practices, get this, his level of experience, his sample size of knowledge, he's now helped 650 startups just in dentistry. Wow. 650. Like, so what's better? Getting onto a Facebook group and asking for a groupthink opinion for a bunch of people who might have opened one startup one time in one town with mediocre success?
Or just sharing their opinion without an experience.
Yeah, right. Half the time you get these, like, you can tell somebody's like tapping on the keyboard real hard. They're like, you need to get a demographics ratio, the best ratio. And then you're like, wait, this is like a D2 in dental school. Like, God love him, but he's not even a dentist yet. And he's like banging out his opinion on the keyboards. So anyway, what I love is when we can shatter those myths, like, hold up, we just helped somebody open up a few months ago. He's $1 million startup in his first 12 months of collections, $1 million of collections. His name is Brian.
Wow.
And he's in a town with a ratio that's 25% lower than I wrote about in my own book. Like, so the guys who are like banging on the keyboard saying, you got to have this like ratio. Really? What about what actually works? Not just your opinion. So anyway, speaking from experience, I was one of those young, dumb, overly confident, I'm going to figure it out through trial and error. And that was super, super hard. What I love is when we're able to help associate dentists be entrepreneurs and great dentists and become impactful community leaders even before they open. So I can share lots of ideas of how we get people on the cover of newspapers and on radio broadcasts and on TV stations weeks before they even open. So, whatever would serve you guys. But there's a couple things that are happening right now, literally in the middle of a pandemic. So, so there you go. Actually, you know what? I can give you another
Amazing.
one. Let me pull up. Excuse me. I'm going over to my laptop here to pull up one of our groups. We have a private Facebook group. This is not a pitch for the Facebook group. We have a private Facebook group.
Oh, go ahead, share it. Share the Facebook group.
Well, I can't pitch it really because it's a private invitation of.
Oh, I see.
30 of the fastest growing startups in the country are in this one group. And one of my team members, her name's Stacy. She's one of our startup MBA advisors. I'll just read verbatim. I didn't prep for this, so if I bleep out a couple words, forgive me. So she has a picture of Dr. Jared there. I wonder if I can just share this on the screen. Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna turn my laptop. This is funky, but okay. So don't bother trying to join the group, but because you can't get in. But okay, so here's a picture of Jared. If anybody wants to see, there's Jared. Okay. So Stacy, my startup MBA advisor, says there's a lot of chatter about this being a bad time for dentists, startups in particular, right? And this is 4 hours ago, so hot off the press. It says this hasn't been the case for most of you! Exclamation point. Jared, for example, had his 2 highest producing months so far during this time, only seeing emergencies! Exclamation point. Over 55K in one month, close to 40K another, and over 20K so far this month. Guys, it's the 7th of the month, and he's at 20K for the month.
Wow.
That's way more than the national average. And it says, and his team hasn't started back yet. He did this, including everything insurance by himself. Sounds like there's some grammar going there. He officially opens back up on the 11th.
Oh, that's funny.
Wow.
That's awesome. That's great.
So this is what I love about startups. The cool thing is, I said it in the beginning, practice, profit, purpose. Our whole model, everything we do is based on practice. You could just have a startup practice. Most go that path. They think if I open the doors, they will come. You ever see the movie with Kevin Bacon, the Field of Dreams movie from the 80s?
Yeah.
Like James Earl Jones, if you build it, they will come. That's not true in dentistry. If you build it, they don't necessarily come. So practice is where most startups get stuck. They open their doors, they buy chairs, and they're like, oh crap. Oh now what? So that's practice. Next is profits, like building a real business system before your doors open with all the marketing, all the hiring, all the strategies. That's profits. So practice, profits, and third is purpose. If we can establish the purpose before we open, if we establish how the community is going to be affected, the movement that the doctor is going to lead, the cause the doctor is going to champion, in addition to the 4 walls of the practice, then the doctor is more fulfilled, the community is more inspired, the team is there for purpose, not just paycheck, and frankly, the whole business runs better, and the byproduct is it's also more successful. So there you go. Again, didn't mean to talk quite that much, but I get fired up about this stuff. So
you're good, man.
There you go.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
I mean, my mind goes. I mean, I've started a startup, obviously not in dental software. Ben, you've started your own company startup multiple times. You're crazier than me, I think, but I'm teasing. I'm teasing. You're very smart. For a practice just opening up, and even maybe they're opening up in a pandemic like we're talking about here, what are the first tips that you suggest they do in regards to marketing and getting the word out and exactly kind of what you said there, practice, profit, purpose? What are your tips for them, at least all the ones listening right now, especially during this time? It's such a interesting time.
Yeah. Well, I guess, so you want me to speak to the ones who are considering practice ownership, considering a startup, or the ones the answers are kind of different. Ones who are in a startup and looking to reopen, or the associates considering a startup as practice ownership?
Let's talk about the practices that right now that have a startup right now and they're trying to reopen.
Okay. So this is pretty cool. The toilet paper grand reopening. I just recorded 2 other interviews with clients. This is fun and funny. A bunch of our clients are going through their grand reopening, like they opened a month ago or 2 months ago. I'll scroll down this group. I saw a post yesterday from somebody who said, here's one. Oh, Stacy again. Stacy posted. I'm going to leave this person's name off the screen, but you guys, I'll cover her name just to protect the innocent. Whoops. Okay, here we go. Ready? See, this is just like live. All right, so this big orange post here says Lindsay reopened with a big day over 5K. Over $5,000 for her grand. That was yesterday at 11:06 a.m. Ta-da! Wow. So hot off the press. Okay, so one of the things that a lot of our clients are doing right now, if you're a startup that you're like, oh crap, all the PPE and all the stress and my PPP loan didn't come in and what the heck do I do? I encourage you to find a way to stand boldly as a community leader. I'll give you a couple of suggestions for what to do here. First, I'd make sure that your personality can show through because people will look to you. Remember, as a dentist, and I'm just going to like speak right to the dentist here. As a dentist, I want to remind you and encourage you, your community respects you probably the highest level possible. You're one of the most educated, you're one of the most accomplished, you are one of the most admired, trusted people in your town. It is your responsibility, it is your moral obligation to lead with optimism. If you don't, who will? What I recommend for you is to stand bold and find a way to smile, find a way to look forward. And I want to give you a couple cool little easy tips to do this. First, the toilet paper grand reopening. I recommend making a big production out of your grand reopening, whether you've been open a day, a week, a month, or 10 years. Make it a big event. A lot of our clients are literally unrolling a roll of toilet paper because of like the goofiness, weirdness of the toilet paper shortage. And they're kind of like poking the eye of the shortage, right? That's kind of like a visual poking in the eye of the shortage. So they unroll the toilet paper, and I can show you Dr. Mason in Las Vegas, he just did this. He's got some really cool strategies, like some Instagram influencer strategies that we've been working on with him. 38 new patients from using it one time. Anyway, so he unrolled his toilet paper across the thing, and they had the cameras there. They had everybody jumping up and down, and they cut the ribbon. They put it on TikTok. They put it on Facebook. They put it on Instagram. And you should see this post is on fire. The whole town is like, yeah, you go, right? Everybody's cheering because everybody wants to be led by that. They don't want to be led by somebody who's like, oh,
the world's over. Yeah.
Like, we're all going down. The ship is sinking. Like, what? Why are patients going to come to that?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's one. I'd say do that. Second, Ben Franklin, back in 1774, before this Constitution was written, the Declaration of Independence wasn't even signed yet. He was leading something called the juntas throughout early America in Philadelphia, the JUNTA. You can look it up. David McCullough has a really cool biography on Ben Franklin. He was leading juntas. As historians look back on the success journey of Ben Franklin, they can see that these juntas were one of the keys to his success and his rise through prominence. The juntas were essentially him networking and becoming the leader of an association of business owners. So he owned a printing press. You guys probably know that. But Ben Franklin, his first business was a little printing press business. So he had his printing press business, and he invited in the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. They all came together, and he started just having brainstorming sessions with them and supporting them and leading them. And he was essentially just the host of brainstorming, right? Business associations. That's a junta. In Ben Franklin's words, that was a junta. Interestingly, he went from, I don't know if I didn't know this before I started researching Ben Franklin, but he went from having his junta because he was established as a person of influence, and because he was established as a person of character and integrity and leadership and optimism, like toilet paper style, right? Because of all those things, he was the guy who was invited to lead the first U.S. Postal Service. So he had the first national charter to open an East Coast, which was the nation effectively at that point, the first nationwide postal service. He was the Postmaster General, this dude with no traditional education who owned a printing press. He went there. And then from there, because of all his established connections, leadership, optimism, character, integrity, all those things, because of that, he was then invited to become the first U.S. ambassador to France. Like this guy who was like, I mean, if Hollywood were around then, they would say he was a nobody, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure in God's eyes, he was a somebody, but they would say he was a nobody. And he did this all through juntas. So I recommend the toilet paper strategy concept combined with the fact that somebody's going to be the leader in your community. And I recommend that you, as the most respected, admired, accomplished, educated professional in your town, be that person. Create a junta where you can have just a little community of business owners, other influencers in your community who you can inspire, lead, and connect with to lead your community forward. So those would be two, like right away out of the gates for people who are currently open strategies for startups. Does that give some ideas?
Yeah, I love that. I
awesome.
love that story too.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it too, Ben, like, I mean, that's networking, right? Networking with small business, other small business owners. I think that's one of the best ways to grow really anything. If you think about it, Ben, I know you've grown your, I know it's not a dental practice, but you've grown your company that way. And likewise with me, through creating our own, what is it called? Junta? Is that what you call it?
Junta.
Junta.
Yeah,
Okay.
Junta.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
gotta look
those
that
are two
up.
things that I'd recommend right out of the gate. You mind if I do a shift over to associate dentists?
Yeah, let's do
For
it.
sure. Yeah.
So for associate dentists, I'll give a big, bold, forceful. Here, I didn't mean to pull this out, but here, I'm going to roll in like Vanna White. This is from a different interview that I did earlier. Look, 3 opportunities. I'm reading backwards on my screen here. 3 opportunities for dental startups in 2020. Go to startupdentistpodcast.com. There you go. Startupdentistpodcast.com. Vanna White is rolling on. Startup dentist. So we launched it's a master class. It's called Startup Dentist Podcast, but it's actually an audio master class that goes step by step through the whole startup journey. Like from idea, we say from idea to opening day, the whole process, like how to build the vision, how to consider demographics, what to know about real estate, how to consider financing, how do you like open with no patients? Like, how do I get patients before I open? I don't want to open with 0 patients. Like all that stuff, startupdentistpodcast.com. So in there, one of the frameworks that we talked through, obviously a startup is not quite as simple as just 3 steps. It's not just practice, profit, purpose. That's the framework. But we talked through a 13 stages process, which is all the pieces of the puzzle in sequence. One of the primary things to remember is connecting the sequence of events in order. The timeline and the sequence of these should take 12 to 18 months. So to all the associate dentists, here's what I'm getting at. To any associate dentist who might be in this 84% of doctors working for doctors, if you're one of those, I want you to think forward from today, 18 months. Like think about a calendar right now. So it's 2020, the time we're recording this. Think forward 18 months. So I distinctly, sincerely, I'm asking you to consider if you want to own a practice by the end of 2021. Do you want to be a practice owner by then? If not, if you're like, I don't know, maybe 2022 or 2025, cool, good. Don't worry about it then. Don't stress yourself out. Things will change to the point that both you guys made. Like things like business as usual and better than average, like we talked about earlier on, the asterisk there was but different. Things will change by then. By the year 2025, things will change. Don't bother trying to study startupdentistpodcast.com until the time is right. However, if you're one of the doctors who's like, yeah, you know what, by the end of 2021, I want to be back in control. Like, I don't want to be like Dr. David and have the risk of losing my job. God forbid. I mean, imagine, what if he lost his job 4 months ago? What would that 4-month gap of time have been like for him? 4 months with no income? Thank God he only had 2 days to deal with, right? Yeah, what would that have been like if he lost control for 4 months? Oh, that's not good. One of the other doctors I just interviewed, he said the greatest aha moment he's had. Oh, it was the doctor with the $1 million startup, the $1 million collection startup. Brian is his name. He's like, one of the biggest aha moments I've had in this journey is I'm in control now. He said, yeah, like with my associateship, it's binary income. It's either on or off. He said, what I'm realizing now with my startup, I've only been open a little while, close to 18 months in his case. He said, so I've been open only a little while, but now I realize the community rallies for me. Maybe I don't make as much, but I can make more. It's not a binary decision anymore. I have wiggle room. I can control expenses. I can hire more people. I can get a PPP loan, right? Like there's options there. It's not just a binary decision, which leads to control. So I'd recommend if you're an associate dentist and you want to study the whole process, startupdentistpodcast.com. Now, here's 2 things for startup. People are like, this Jayme dude is crazy. Like, first of all, where's he get all this energy? And then second of all, why does he like startups so much? Right now in this pandemic, there are actually 2 or 3 like mind-blowing benefits to startups. If you guys want to hear about them, that come later this year are going to like blow the roof off of anything we've seen with startups so far in terms of cost savings and financial opportunities for startups. Like I'm saying it live on video right here, like timestamp it if you want. This will happen in the next 2 to 6 months. Guaranteed, crushing, amazing opportunities just for startup. Do you mind if I speak to those?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So number one is real estate. So on the topic of real estate, the bad news for the country, like this is actually bad news. A lot of small businesses are going under. I actually just saw a report last night. It was either at wallstreet.com or it was bloomberg.com. A survey was put out that 52% of small businesses don't think they're going to make it. Whoa. Like, that's not good.
No.
Now, the stock market is roaring right now. Like, it's on fire. All
Yeah.
the people who are predicting economic growth, they're saying early next year is going to be lit. Like 2021, it's probably going to be faster, stronger, rapid growth than this country probably has ever seen because of all the stimulus, all the financial opportunities. This pandemic thing it will come to an end. Guaranteed, it will end at some point. Like it will be bookended and it will stop at some point. Whereas other economic cycles, there was kind of like no end. Like, when could this possibly end? There's some systemic problem inside the economy or whatever. This is not a systemic problem. This is a book-endable topic called a virus. It will be stopped. The virus or the vaccine or whatever will come out. So it will be bookended. It will stop. When it stops, a few months from now, 6 months, a year, whatever, when it stops, the economy should explode with growth. However, we got this space in between that's like might not feel really good. Why is this good for startups? Real estate. A lot of businesses will go under. Many of them will be small retail businesses.
Yep.
They currently occupy the space that you as an associate dentist want. This is very bad news for landlords and probably the best news of your financial career for you as an associate dentist. So you need real estate space if you're going to have a startup practice. Like, you need space. I predict that we will see the best financial deals and concessions made by landlords to dentists than any time in the history of dentistry. I'm putting my name next to this. I'm predicting it partially because I saw this happen in 2008 and 2009, like the last financial mess. We saw real estate deals that were like, what?
It was pretty incredible,
get this. We're starting to see it unravel, reveal itself right now. Just 2 weeks ago, we just saw with one of our clients in Florida. He's in Tampa. His name's Andrew. We just negotiated for Andrew. We just got the agreements 2 weeks ago. The landlord just agreed to give him 30 free months of rent. Oh. That's 2.5 years.
Holy smokes.
Free rent. Like, just agreed. And we're just getting started. Like, we're just getting started.
Amazing. That's great.
So as we negotiate these things, we're seeing these opportunities start to bubble up in real time right now. The real estate is going to be mind-blowing, large 6-figure, one-time opportunity. This window will close. The bookend will come. The economy will roar back. Those landlords will not need you as badly as they will in the next 2 to 6 months. So for the associate dentists who are thinking, I think I want to own my own practice sometime in 2021, I beg of you, start now. Right now. If you don't start now, you're going to miss these massive opportunities that will leave. That doesn't mean you can't create success in the future, but if you want to start with an extra couple $100,000 in your pocket, like, go. Put the key in the ignition and turn. Take a step forward. Okay, so that's real estate. What do you is that a good one? You like that one?
Yeah, I love that one.
Oh, that's great advice.
So real estate, that's the first one. Then the second one is construction. This is going to suck for contractors. I've been getting some hate mail from contractors by saying this, but it's true. Contractors and pricing for construction in some markets around the country will drop by 50%. That's insane, because construction as a line item in a startup practice's budget, it's $200,000, $300,000, $400,000. I mean, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So let's just take a low end, like $250K. That's not uncommon. We build the business plans for startup doctors. Like, we build their business plans, their financial projections, the whole thing. $250,000 is not uncommon. So $250,000 for hammers and drywall and paint, all that stuff. $250,000. Well, what's 50% of that? $125,000. Yeah. You will see in many markets around the country, we're already starting to see this happen right now. Contractors, they have this problem. They have all these employees, like they have all those employees. And when the economy is good, all those employees support their business at this level. Their prices can stay here even with this many employees. But what happens when the economy drops and they don't have as many jobs? They can't keep their prices high because they don't have as many jobs. They don't have as many jobs. Well, in the interim, over the next 2 to 6 months, they're not going to be able to just let all their people go right now. Those are valuable, skilled people. So in order to keep these guys fed, the owner of the business might be willing to take a little bit of a hit, maybe a little bit of loss, maybe a little less profit. Because of this disparity, we'll get back. We're going to get back to this. But in the interim, in these next 2 to 6 months, this is going to create a financial opportunity for startups who get started now, who can help this contractor keep all his people employed for a discount. And I'm not saying every pocket of the whole country is going to be 50%, but think about like New York City, guys. Like right now,
Oh yeah.
you think contractors would be grateful to be able to keep their people employed for a discount?
Absolutely.
Heck yeah.
For sure.
So another probably 100+ K of opportunity by starting now. But if you wait till December when things feel rosy and the rest of dentistry like, oh, we're okay now. Yeah, but we were okay before. Remember? Lindsay, $5,000 a day. David, $4,100 on his very first day of grand opening. Like, we're okay today too. So you can get started now and capture hundreds of thousands of dollars of benefits. So, okay, so there you go. There's a couple big ones right there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You know, we're talking awfully a lot about startups, new construction, real estate, lease negotiations, things of that nature. But there's so many things that you mentioned that are applicable for existing practices, you know, having that startup mentality in terms of, you know, the chip on the shoulder and the edge. Jordan and I talk about this a lot, where it's like you have to be a little bit scrappy in being an entrepreneur, you know. And
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's the fun part.
yeah, it is. And then creating that sort of, you know, that demand. I mean, I love the advice about being a leader. And I didn't really think about this, Jordan. You and I write a lot of articles. We appear on a lot of other podcasts and featured, you know, we're interviewed by, I was just reached out by ABC yesterday.
Nice.
I don't know if I'm going to do the interview because I don't really trust the media. At the same time, how cool of an opportunity just to put yourself out there as a quote unquote expert. And naturally, we even see this in our business. It creates such a demand for the service. And man, Jayme, I wish we had more time to pick your brain and chat about a bunch of things. And we know your time is valuable. And
well, there's always part 2.
Yeah, maybe we should.
We should, yeah.
You mentioned the startupdentistpodcast.com website. What other resources do you have to share for listeners, no matter what stage of practice they're in?
Well, I would love to say I'm smart enough to have advice for every practice owner, but I'm actually convinced the more and more I see it play out in real life, the advice for startups is unique to startups. And the advice for established practices is very different. Here's one great case in point. I know some really smart people, like guys I know we all like admire and respect, who kind of make a living in a consulting realm by talking about things like metrics and financial management for established practices. And one metric that everybody loves to talk about is overhead percentage, right? So here's my case in point. I'll just kind of riff off this. Overhead percentage. A lot of people will say like, what should the overhead percentage be? How do I get my overhead percentages lower? How do I get down to that like mystical 40 or 50%, right? Overhead percentages is a big deal. Like, how do I get my supply costs low and my team still inspired with good paychecks? How do I keep my overhead percentage low and take them the most money? So they get down to these like metrics, these finite numbers with their spreadsheets and everything else. That's cool. Like, I get that. I like that for established practices. But for a startup, I'll actually give you the real number. Anybody wants to grab a pen? I got a pencil right here. If you want to write down this exact number for a startup practice, I'll give you like to the decimal point. I'll give you the exact number for a startup practice, the overhead percentage. Ready? It is precisely 100%. Your overhead will be 100% on your first day because you don't have any income. You don't have any revenue yet. Like on day one, you have to have a business plan in place that plans to fund all of the payroll. Like, you got to pay your employees on Friday, but the insurance reimbursement check might not come in for a week or two. You need a plan for that. Like, you can't just learn through trial and error. That's when people don't get paid and they quit. Like, that's what happens.
It kills morale. Yeah, it kills morale.
Or even worse, I see this on Facebook groups all the time. It's like, it makes me sick to my stomach. I'll see people say, oh no, I opened up 3 weeks ago. We don't have enough patients. I don't have any money left. What should I do for marketing? dude, that's the question you should have asked 8 months ago. Like, you're 3 weeks in, you've got a problem, a real problem.
Big problem.
And it happens all the time. And that's why, like, I think the answer is, for a startup, please, like, for the love of everything, for your family, for your career, for your finances, like, for yourself, please ignore people's opinions about dental startups who have not opened at least 100. I know that's a high watermark, but if they haven't opened 100, somebody who just opened one practice, one time in one town with mediocre results, that dude on some Facebook group who types really loud, that guy, if his advice is just theory, it's just theory. His sample size is 1, and it's not even a good outcome. Like, he's got one sample size, and he's typing really loud, so everybody wants to listen to him. Actually, I was just yelled at incessantly. I just ignored the guy. I was just he's yelling at me like this, clickety, clickety, clack, 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 super long messages. And this one group, I won't mention it, but he's like yelling at me saying, the clients you work, they can't be true stories. The things you talk about, not possible. He says, I'm a business consultant. No other dentist needs a consultant. I don't work with dentists, so I'm pure. My wife is a dentist, and she's opening a startup. We're opening it up 4 hours from here. Like, I'm giving you a little play-by-play of what he's writing. She's opening up 4 hours from where we live now. We have a baby. Like, I know what this is about. I'm a business consultant. All the banks said that I know more than other dentists. All the banks, all the people who I've been negotiating with, they say that I can do this and I should be helping other dentists. Nobody needs a real consultant. Anybody can call me for free advice anytime they want. And I don't think he's trying to pitch consulting services for dentistry. I genuinely don't think he wants to be a business consultant in dentistry. But here's the paradox. So you're saying your wife has a free consultant who's really good in business, and no other dentist should have access to that. Is that what you're saying? Like, no other dentist should have access to great, wise business consulting. Okay, cool. Like, that's your opinion. I feel really bad for people who just take this loud keyboard advice on social media from this dude who's never even opened a startup. Like, he's like hours away, has no success under his belt, and I don't have all the answers. I don't, like, but I have 15 consultants around the country who would give their left arm for our clients, who would like lay down on train tracks to keep our clients safe. And it's because they've done this hundreds of times. So my one biggest piece of advice is, if you want a predictable result, don't be like me. Like, with my first business, and just hoping on a wing and a prayer that I'm going to figure it out. It doesn't always work out for people who go through trial and error. So, but if you want to tap into a couple hundred like true iterations, go to startupdentistpodcast.com. There's my big old plug for it. It's totally free. It's a real masterclass. I'm not getting anything for it. Go listen to it, study it up. If you're in the next 18 months, if my team can support you, cool. We have an application process. We get hundreds of applicants per year. We can only accept, just full disclosure, we only accept 5 to 7 new applicants per month because that's all we can handle. So we're not going to do more. That's it. So if we can help you at some point, cool. If not, use our free stuff. There's tons of it. So to answer your point, Ben, I think you asked it, that people can go get that podcast masterclass if they want. We got tons of other resources, but that's a good one to start with. So
cool.
Awesome. Man, you're a fireball of really great positive energy. It's been a pleasure for the last hour.
Cool.
And we need that in this day and age. At this time where I personally shut off the TV. I'm like, I'm sick and tired of hearing the media. And I'm glad I did.
Too negative.
Because, I mean, there's a lot of good going on in society, and what you've shared with us, Jayme, they're just such wonderful tips about how to get yourself out there, especially for startups. Any closing words, and then Jordon, you're going to give a closing prayer, right? Is that right? You're going to do that?
No, I'm good, man.
That's awesome. No, I think I genuinely believe, like, for the associate dentists who want to establish practice ownership on their own terms, a startup is so rewarding when it's done right. Because before you even open, you actually like step out of your box onto your stage, and by rolling this out the right way, your town is attracted to you not because of discounts, but your town can be attracted to you because of values, and your town can be attracted to you because of what you stand for. not just because you have cheap chairs in the back of a retail space. Like, that's not the goal. So if you want to have a practice and you want to have the practice ownership experience that you can really be proud of, like from day one through your whole career, I would recommend study the principles that work, not the theories, but the stuff that actually works. That's what I'd recommend. Practice ownership with startups is incredible and thriving when done right, even in this day and age, in this economy. So there you go.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Love it.
Awesome thoughts. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And we'll post that podcast link to the show notes for those that are listening, as well as Jayme's idealpractices.com website as well, for those that want some additional research. Yes,
I dangled an opportunity and didn't share it. The Dr. David video. Sorry, I totally blanked.
Oh yeah.
I'll make it go to a page, idealpractices.com. I'll put it here. idealpractices.com/3-startups. I mentioned 3 startups. I'll make sure that there are 3 videos there. So idealpractices.com/3, the number 3.
Number 3, okay.
So numeral 3-startups. And I'll make sure that that's all taken care of. I know they're working on that page. I don't know if it's done, but I think that'll be really helpful to upload those videos and share Dr. David's story and like actually see him share the actual numbers and see his team yelling at him from the back. Like, he's like, stop. He's like, I'm in the middle of an interview. You'll see the whole thing. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
We love it, man.
Dr. Davis, Dr. Alexis, and Dr. Brian. So we'll post that exact link on the show notes for those of you that are interested in that. Jordan, final words?
No, man, that's it. I love this episode. It's good.
Cool. Thank you guys for having me. Huge honor. Like, thank you for what you're doing with Boom Cloud. Like, all the stuff you guys are rocking out there. It's really cool resources. Thank you for what you're doing. And thank you for having me. This is great.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
It's been our pleasure. Thank you, Jayme, for being with us today.
Thanks, guys.